This is the Big Brother 27 live feed update. Comment, like, share, and subscribe. Get me to 1,000 subs. So in this update, I'm going to go over a number of fights we've seen recently. Well, we haven't seen all of them because, Big Brother likes to censor the feeds. But the ones that I'm going to talk about and the ones that I heard talked about that we didn't get to see are Ashley versus Mickey, which we got to see. Rachel versus Keanu, which we didn't get to see. And I'm also going to talk about Mickey, funny enough, still throwing Vince out there to be a target for people like Will and Ava. And obviously, Jimmy being on the block now. And the emerging rats of the season being Kelly and Ava. Now, first, let's talk about Ashley and Mickey. Like right now, they got a little beef going on because Mickey is very upset that Ashley is now an advocate for Jimmy. Because as we know, Jimmy for the past couple of weeks wanted Ashley out pre-jury. Because, Morgan, because it hasn't just been Morgan and Mickey making their list of who they want to make jury. Jimmy has been a part of that as well, which is why I found it funny when Rachel found out about the jury picking. She complained about it to Jimmy when Jimmy has been a part of those picking who they wanted in jury. And one of them has been Ashley. Jimmy only advocated for Ashley during Lauren's HOH because Mickey and Morgan pushed for Jimmy to advocate for her. So even though, the noise on BB Twatter, who has now erected Ashley as their new Slay Queen diva, the reality, though, in the house is Mickey and Morgan have been the main advocates for Ashley. And knowing this, Mickey is frustrated with Ashley, who, as we know, likes to run her mouth, not because of any strategy. She just likes to gossip and then see people's reactions. As we know, not only has she thrown Morgan and Mickey under the bus multiple times while they have advocated for her, but back when Amy was in the house, she even talked trash about Rachel. As I stated before, I feel like the only person she hasn't thrown under the bus yet is Will. She hasn't thrown Ava under the bus either, but Ava really doesn't count because she sleeps for like 16 hours, apparently. But yeah, they had a back and forth with Will there, and currently right now on the feeds, you have Mickey complaining about Ashley being ungrateful to Will. And of course, Will intelligently has just played the neutral party. When Ashley's complaining about Mickey to Will, he agrees with her. And when Mickey is complaining about Ashley to Will, he agrees with her as well. And for him, that's a smart play. As long as they're not targeting him. And I feel like Will could actually do well for himself in this game if he keeps playing that neutral position and then late in the game, maybe get a big target or two out, and then he could actually be a legit contender to win. But again, we'll see. Now, the other versus that has gone on has been Rachel versus Keanu once again. She's also been kind of going at Vince as well, which is part of the Vince portion of this video that I'm going to talk about. But right now, let's just talk about what she had to say about Keanu. It had nothing to do with game. I think they were arguing about, whether women train or not while they're pregnant. And Rachel basically denied that that's possible or talked about how dangerous it is or something. And her and Keanu had a disagreement because Keanu has trained pregnant women before. But again, we didn't see any of that because they didn't show it. And apparently even earlier today, they had another argument over the bathroom being clean. And apparently Rachel blamed all the boys for the bathroom situation, and Kelly ran and told Keanu that she mentioned Jimmy's name. And again, what's so funny with these back and forths? Rachel historically has never won a verbal argument. I mean, even this season, she lost to Zay in her verbal argument. We saw how much Catherine trashed Rachel during their verbal argument. Same thing happened in 13. Same thing happens in 12. But now, thanks to revisionist historians of this show, they make it seem like Rachel is known for her argument battles, when she's literally, to use wrestling jargon, she's been a jobber in every verbal fight she's been in, because she's always loses. But again, these are the things that have always made Rachel generally disliked in her seasons. The only difference with this season is it's people in the house that are fans of her reputation from her being on previous seasons, which is one of the advantages that a returner has. Even if the returner was a hated person, especially if it's a female returner, they still will sort of be revisionist historians about it, especially when you cast this show with people who never really watched the show like that. They may have watched the TV show, and maybe even some watched a little bit of feeds, but from a true sort of analytical standpoint, watching the show and feeds, they don't cast people like that. And if they do cast them, they usually be ultra weirdos who would have got evicted first night if it wasn't for some twists, a la Ian. Now, when it comes to Vince, he's also, been having some beef with Rachel, because Rachel's made it abundantly clear she wants Vince out. And, back when Vince was HOH, he didn't have an opportunity to target her, even though I don't think he would have targeted her at the time. But at least he can lean on the excuse, well, I never had the chance to target her because, that was the week Rachel was given immunity by production. But it's not just Rachel targeting Vince. Seems like Ava and Will is targeting Vince as well. And Jimmy, while on the block, is sort of throwing mainly Vince under the bus to people like Kelly. But in terms of Kelly, he forgets Kelly's sitting on the block next to him. And if Kelly is still on the block, if Riley wins, she wants those votes. So, of course, Kelly went and told Vince everything Jimmy said. Which brings me to the other rat in the house, Ava. She recently finally told someone, Ashley, that Vince and Zach were sort of second-guessing their votes when Will was on the block. But then I find out that Ava told this already to Mickey. So Mickey knew this, but still put Jimmy on the block, which I guess further emphasizes how stupid that move was. But anyway, no matter if Jimmy's still sitting on the block, more than likely the votes will be against him. So, quite frankly, it comes down to CBS and what Big Brother blockbuster they give them this Thursday. And we're going to see whether or not it's something that shows they want Jimmy to stay, or if they want Jimmy to go, or if it's just a neutral situation where anybody could win. And they're actually leaving it up to who can compete the best in that comp. Because there are comps that they could put in there that would favor Jimmy. I think if they do the rollerball comp, that's sort of a fair comp, but again, that's something that they could easily gimmick. It's sad, but you just really can't trust the show any longer to be fair. You can't. This season has proven this, but also the past seasons. Basically, every season post Big Brother 22 has proven this. But anyway, that's all I have to say so far. Even though we did get a little bit of conversation so far today, they've been heavy on the button to pushing it to censoring the feeds by showing one room where no one's doing or saying anything, or giving us the "we'll be right back" screen. Yeah. But yeah, hopefully if the next HOH is endurance, we actually get to see it. Because who knows this season? They'll probably gimmick the endurance comp in some way, where they break it up into teams, and whoever wins the endurance comp based on the teams that they divided people in, that is the team that gets immunity. And Rachel gets to pick the teams. I can see them doing some BS like that.